This is the correct way to measure flour. First you're going to go ahead and turn on your scale. You see mine's already on. And then you're going to set it to grams. You can see the little G up there at the top as opposed to ounces and pounds. Then you're going to take next you're going to take your container, whatever you're mixing your flour, measuring your flour with, and you're going to set it on top of the scale. You'll notice that it gives you a reading here. You don't want to take that weight into account. That's called the tare weight. You go ahead and hit your 0 button. That takes you back down to 0 so that you know exactly what you're putting in there. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and you're going to just take a spoon and your flour, and you're just going to measure it into the bowl. Until you get the amount of flour that you want. Now what I'm going for here is a cup of flour. A cup of flour is about 125 grams. So there we go. That's 125 grams, so that should be a cup of flour. I've gone ahead and dumped the flour from the bowl into the measuring cup so you can see. It actually kind of looks a little bit like I have more than a cup of flour, but because I weighed it, I know that it is exactly 125 grams and that it is a cup of flour. Here's where your problems come in. This is a liquid measuring cup. A lot of times you'll see people that don't know how to bake very well or just haven't learned how to do it very, proper techniques, try to use these to measure dry ingredients, and you can't really do that. And I'm going to show you the reason why. Let's just go ahead and scoop some flour out of here. And that's about, it's a little more than a cup. Okay, so we've got a cup of flour there. Now I'm going to go ahead and dump it into my food scale. And you can see here, I ended up with 150 grams of flour, which means I have 25 grams more than necessary. So my first cup, which you saw looked almost overflowing with 125 grams, definitely would not have held this. So we're using way too much flour here if we measure with a dry measure or with a liquid measuring cup. So let's talk about dry measuring cups. This is a dry measuring cup. You can see it has lines on the inside, but those are pretty much irrelevant since they come in sizes for that too. Now I'm going to go ahead and same thing. I'm going to scoop flour out of there, level it off. And now I'm going to dump it into my bowl, which I need to zero out.
Dump the bowl.
As you can see, that gave us an even worse result than the liquid measuring cup. I ended up with almost 160 grams of flour, which meant I would have some really dry bread or cookies or whatever else it was that I was making. Next, we're going to talk about the proper way to measure flour using a dry measuring cup. You need to have a spoon in addition to your dry measuring cup. And what you do is you very loosely scoop the flour into the measuring cup. Don't pack it down. Don't jiggle it to get it level. Just scoop until the cup is full and keep it loose. You want it to be kind of heaped up like that. Next, flip your spoon over, take the handle, and you're just going to slide it across the top to get it level. Now let's go ahead and weigh our properly measured cup of flour. As you can see, that's gotten us the closest to our 125 grams, but it's still 10 grams over. If you were only using 1 cup of flour, it wouldn't make a difference. But when you're using like 4 or 5 or 6 cups of flour in something, then that means you've got like 40, 50 grams. That's almost an extra half cup to a cup in there sometimes. So you want to be careful that you're not doing that, which is why the scale is the most accurate way to measure.